Have you ever felt like the ground is shifting beneath your feet? Like the rules you thought you understood are being rewritten overnight? For thousands of people dreaming of a future in the United Kingdom, that feeling is becoming an undeniable reality. What if the job you've trained for years to do is suddenly off limits? What if the promise of a secure future for your family is abruptly thrown into question? This isn't a hypothetical scenario. As we step into this first week of September 2025, the UK's immigration landscape is being shaken to its very core by a series of seismic announcements and policy shifts that have unfolded with breathtaking speed. Hello and welcome back to your essential briefing on UK immigration matters. My name is Traveller, and over the next few minutes, we are going to navigate the torrent of changes that have emerged from the Home Office, starting from this past weekend right up to this very morning. The government has just dropped a bombshell, effectively slamming the door on overseas recruitment for over 100 different professions. We are also witnessing a dramatic and deeply controversial overhaul of the asylum system, with new limits on what the most vulnerable can purchase and a tightening of the rules that allow families to be together. And casting a long shadow over everything is the looming parliamentary debate on a proposal that could force many to wait a full decade before they can truly call the UK home. There is an immense amount of information to process, so settle in as we unpack what these sweeping changes truly mean for individuals, for families, and for the future of the United Kingdom. Our journey begins with the most significant headline that dominated the past weekend. On Saturday, the 30th of August, the Home Office made an official declaration that has sent shockwaves through numerous industries. More than 100 distinct occupations are now officially ineligible for overseas recruitment under the skilled worker visa route. In a concise statement published on the social media platform X, the government articulated its rationale, stating that this decisive action is designed to create more employment opportunities for British workers, heralding the arrival of what it calls a fairer, skills-focused immigration system. For those of you who follow these developments closely, this policy direction will not come as a complete surprise. This announcement is the concrete manifestation and latest enforcement step of the radical changes to the immigration rules that were first implemented back on the 22nd of July, 2025. It was on that date that the new Labour government elevated the minimum skill threshold required for the skilled worker route. The bar was raised from what is known as RQF Level 3, which is broadly equivalent to an A-level education, to the much more stringent RQF Level 6, the standard of a university degree. While the rule change itself occurred in July, this weekend's formal announcement acts as a powerful and unambiguous confirmation from Prime Minister Keir Starmer's administration of its unwavering commitment to this more restrictive immigration posture. So, which professions are caught in this net? The list is extensive and its impact ripples across a vast array of sectors. According to the reports that have been released, some of the most prominent delisted occupations include managerial and proprietorial roles in critical fields such as agriculture, the hospitality industry, and logistics. A number of vital health and welfare-related positions have also been affected, a move that has caused considerable alarm. This includes jobs like dispensing opticians, pharmaceutical technicians, dedicated youth and community workers, and counselors. The protective services have not been spared either, with roles such as police officers at the rank of sergeant and below, fire service officers, and prison service officers below the rank of principal officer now excluded from international recruitment. Furthermore, a significant portion of the creative and arts sector finds itself impacted. This includes artists, authors and translators, actors, dancers, professional photographers, and both interior and fashion designers. The list continues, encompassing other skilled roles such as musicians, hairdressers, and even air traffic control assistants. It is absolutely vital to understand the precise scope of these changes. They primarily affect new applicants who are applying from outside the United Kingdom. The Home Office has put in place transitional arrangements. These provisions are designed to protect individuals who had already secured sponsorship in these now ineligible roles before the cutoff date of the 22nd of July, 2025. If you are currently in the UK on a skilled worker visa, employed in one of these occupations, you should be able to continue in your role and, crucially, extend your visa with your existing employer. However, for businesses across the UK that were planning to hire new international talent to fill these specific positions, that pathway has been decisively and firmly closed. The government's publicly stated justification for this policy is twofold. to reduce overall net migration figures and to compel employers to invest more heavily in training and developing the domestic workforce. Yet, this policy has been met with a chorus of criticism from its inception. Experts and industry leaders have consistently issued warnings that such a move could severely worsen labor shortages in key sectors that have grown to depend on international expertise. The dental profession, for instance, has been particularly vocal about its concerns, with roles like dental therapists, hygienists, and dental nurses now being ineligible for new sponsorship, a development that has caused significant anxiety within that community. This is a story that is still unfolding, and we will continue to meticulously monitor and report on the real-world consequences of these restrictions on British businesses and the wider labour market. The government's focus this weekend was not solely on work-related visas. The new administration has also signalled a comprehensive and significant overhaul of its approach to the asylum system, with three major developments taking place between Saturday and today. First, and most recently, news broke this very morning, Monday, the 1st of September, that Home Secretary Yvette Cooper is poised to announce stricter regulations for refugees who wish to bring their family members to join them in the UK. According to the initial reports that are emerging, the government intends to tighten the family reunion rules specifically for those who have been granted asylum. It is anticipated that the Home Secretary will frame this policy shift as a necessary step to align the UK's asylum policies more closely with those of other European nations. This represents a major departure in policy, and the specific details of the new rules will be of paramount importance. The right to family reunion is a fundamental cornerstone of international refugee protection, and any alterations to this right will be subjected to intense scrutiny by human rights organizations and legal experts. We are awaiting the full details of this announcement and will bring them to you the moment they are made public. The second major development in asylum policy came on Saturday, when the Home Office officially banned the use of prepaid Aspen cards for a wide array of goods and services that it has deemed to be luxuries. These cards are provided to asylum seekers who are housed in hotel accommodation and are legally barred from working. They are loaded with a weekly allowance of just £9.95. The list of newly blocked items, according to a document that was seen by the Guardian newspaper, includes some bizarrely specific and unlikely purchases such as armoured cars, snowmobiles, and timeshares, but it also extends to more commonplace items like flowers. The official reason given for this move was that it was a response to claims that some asylum seekers were using their meager allowance for gambling. However, the decision has provoked sharp and immediate criticism from charitable organizations. Steve Smith, the chief executive officer of Care for Calais, described the list as a stark demonstration of how out of touch politicians are with the realities of life for people seeking sanctuary. He poignantly pointed out that with an allowance of less than £10 a week, asylum seekers are not in a position to purchase luxury items, and that his charity regularly has to provide basic essentials like deodorant and socks to people in the system. Critics have condemned the move, labeling it as morally abhorrent and a policy designed simply to make life as miserable as possible for those seeking refuge. Finally, the government's asylum policies faced a formidable legal challenge this weekend. On Sunday, it was reported that Home Secretary Yvette Cooper could face legal action after a High Court judge ordered the immediate release of a 25-year-old asylum seeker from Nigeria who suffers from schizophrenia. The man had been held in prison under immigration powers even after his asylum claim had been reinstated and, critically, after a tribunal had already granted him bail back in May. The judge, in his ruling, stated that it was arguable that the Home Office had not acted with appropriate diligence, which led directly to the man's prolonged and unlawful detention. This judgment, which may result in the Home Office being forced to pay damages for breaching the man's human rights, powerfully underscores the significant legal hurdles the government faces as it attempts to implement its stringent detention policies. Shifting our focus now to the ultimate goal for many migrants, settlement, or what is formally known as indefinite leave to remain, ILR. One of the most deeply worrying proposals for many of our viewers has been the plan outlined in the government's May 2025 white paper. This plan proposes to increase the standard qualifying period for ILR from the current 5 years to a daunting 10 years. This proposed change would affect the majority of work visa categories, including the skilled worker route, effectively doubling the time many migrants would have to wait before they could achieve permanent settlement in the UK and eventually become eligible to apply for British citizenship. While the government has indicated that there will be some exemptions, for instance, for those on family visas, and has mentioned the potential for an earned settlement pathway that could reduce the 10-year period for some. The details surrounding these concessions remain frustratingly vague. The proposal has, unsurprisingly, generated a tremendous amount of anxiety and widespread opposition. Now, we have a concrete date for when this opposition will be formally and publicly heard. On Monday, the 8th of September, just 1 week from today, 2 major e-petitions will be debated in Westminster Hall. The first petition, titled Keep the 5-Year ILR Pathway for Existing Skilled Worker Visa Holders, has gathered over 157,000 signatures. It powerfully argues that any increase to the qualifying period should not be applied retrospectively and that those who are already in the UK, on what they believed was a clear path to settlement, should be exempt from the new rule. The second petition, Keep 5-Year ILR Terms to Hong Kong British National, Overseas, Visas, has secured over 108,000 signatures and passionately urges the government to maintain the current 5-year route to settlement for those who have come to the UK on the BNO visa. While a debate in Westminster Hall does not hold the legislative power to change the law itself, its importance cannot be overstated. It forces the government to provide a public response and places significant political pressure on the Home Office. It is a vital opportunity for members of Parliament to amplify the concerns of their constituents, many of whom are your friends, your colleagues, and your family members. We will be watching this debate with intense focus and will bring you a full, detailed report in next week's update. So, to recap this incredibly busy and consequential start to the week, the government has emphatically doubled down on its stricter skilled worker visa policy, formally confirming the exclusion of over 100 occupations from overseas recruitment. It has also initiated a significant tightening of the asylum system, with new family reunion rules imminent and a controversial clampdown on spending for asylum seekers already in effect. And all of this is unfolding as thousands of you wait with bated breath for the pivotal parliamentary debate on the 10-year ILR proposal next Monday. The direction of travel is unmistakably clear. The new government is moving with remarkable speed to implement a more restrictive immigration policy across the board. The coming weeks, and particularly the debate on September the 8th, will be absolutely critical in shaping the future for countless individuals on their journey to building a life in the United Kingdom. That is all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us for this essential briefing. Please make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our special report on the ILR debate and all other breaking immigration news. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.